Hi guys, Mrs. Schwartz here. Today we're talking about addition and subtraction strip diagrams. So if you think back to third grade and strip diagrams, I know you've all worked really hard on them last year. Let's jump right into it. So some key vocabulary. Equation is a math sentence that says two things are equal. An equation must always include an equal sign. The solution is the answer to your equation. Solution simply means answer. Variable. This is new to fourth grade. It is the letter in the equation, the value that you're solving for. It can literally be any letter from the alphabet, capitalized or lowercase. So your variable is simply the letter in your equation. And strip diagram is a visual representation of a math problem. So you probably recognize something like this one here. Let's jump right in and look at some addition strip diagrams. All right, when you're using addition to solve, you're always solving for the total. So your variable should always be in your totals part. So to write an equation, you start with the variable, a equals. Okay, now let's think about it. If we're missing the total, the only way we can find this total is by adding the two values given. So this equation would be a equals 60 plus 20. You could also write that as 60 plus 20 equals a. Says the exact same thing. Just flipped what was on either side of the equal sign. Your solution here would literally be to solve and add. So when you add 60 plus 20, your solution would be a equals 80. And then you can go plug 80 back in and make sure it makes sense with the numbers you're given. So 60 plus 20 does equal 80. An example problem for something you might see with an addition strip diagram, Jamie has 60 red Skittles and 20 yellow Skittles. How many Skittles does Jamie have in all? So 2 times this problem told us to add, and we represented it with a strip diagram. The variable in this strip diagram, you guessed it, it's a. A subtraction strip diagram example. So when you're working a subtraction strip diagram, you always see a missing part. So the variable will be in one of the parts. So again, start by writing that variable, a equals. Okay, when you have a missing part, it would make no sense to add the total plus a part because you're going to end up with more than the strip diagram's total. So when you have a missing part, you're going to be subtracting. 120 minus 80. You could write that too as 120 minus 80 equals a. Either way, it says the same thing. The solution would be when you actually solve for a. So 120 minus 80. I know from 80 to 100 is 20, 100 to 120 is 20 more, and 20 plus 20 is 40. So the solution here is 40. And when you go plug it back in to check, if you were to write 80 plus 40, so actually solving and placing it in, your sum is 120, and that's exactly what it shows. An example here. There are 120 Starkey students who own a gaming system. If 80 students own an Xbox and the rest of the students own a Nintendo Wii, how many students own a Nintendo Wii? So again, that's just a little example of a word problem that would use a subtraction strip diagram. And in this one, the variable is a. Couple multi-steps. So these are your fourth grade strip diagram questions. These are strip diagrams that you must use more than one operation to solve in order to solve, excuse me. So here we're given a total. So C is our variable. I know that we will be subtracting something from the total because that's what we do when we have a total given. But before we can subtract, we're going to need to add those two amounts. So 100 plus 100, so I'm going to solve what I can, starting always with what's in parentheses. So 100 plus 100 is 200, and then C equals 500 minus 200 would be 300. So your solution is C equals 300. And when you plug it back in to check, 100 plus 100 plus 300 does equal 500. One more quick example, and don't be confused if the variable's in the middle, that's okay. B equals, okay, we're given a total, 700. We're going to be subtracting from it, but before we can subtract from it, we need to add these two parts together. So 200 plus 200. B equals, solve what's in parentheses first. 700 minus 400, and b equals, in this case, 300 again. So your solution is b equals 300. So remember, strip diagrams are really, really fun. They really help when the words in the word problem get confusing, because the majority of the time you can solve simply by looking at the strip diagram. All right, don't forget your motto. Strip diagrams are fun. Make it a great day.